Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com. You can find cool stuff in stock every day, and our co-sponsor CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online. I'm Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Aaron Campbell.
Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Ruben Bressler.
Hi, how's it going? It's good to be back.
Perfect interruptions for those who are joining the live show. That said, we kick it off with our first pick and the giveaway. Give away a $50 gift certificate to CoolStuffInc.com, ! raffle in the chat. You get 2 entries if you sub, so throw those Bezos bucks, get those 2 entries, make it happen.
Yeah, so sign up first as a subscriber, then you'll double your entries, then use ! raffle in the chat.
There you go. We also have a trumpet blast this week. Unfortunately, one of our supporters, Nick's dad, Paul, passed away late July 11th from complications of terrible things happening in the world, which we all know about, unfortunately. He was born in San Juan, Puerto Rico in 1947 and spent his life as a citizen of the world, living and working in many countries. He loved his family and they loved him. He loved being a mentor and leader to so many for so long. He loved telling a story, a joke, the worse the better, haha. Music and the poetry of perhaps his greatest friend, Facundo Cabral.
Good job.
Facundo Cabral, sorry. He is survived by his wife Carmen, his children and grandchildren, his brother, and the spirit of everyone whose life he touched. Quote, love never dies, it just changes homes, unquote. Facundo Cabral, his dad's favorite poet. So,
I'm sorry for your loss, Nick.
Yeah.
We're all very sorry to hear about your loss, and we hope your family, gets better soon.
Find some peace.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you, Nick. Nick, long time, been here since literally the beginning. Terribly sorry to hear about that.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to move here to our first pick. Well, they banned a bunch of stuff. They sure did.
They did.
They came through with their promise. They banned some stuff we weren't expecting. The July 13th, 2020 ban and restricted announcement has quite a few updates. Historic, let's start there. Agent of Treachery is officially banned. It was suspended, lol. Winota, Joiner of Forces, is also banned from suspended, lol. Fires of Invention is also banned from suspended, so. Nexus of Fate is banned because everyone hates that card. And Burning Tree Emissary is suspended, even though they brought it back for the Historic Collection, which cracks me up to no end.
I was amused that this is... I've not played any Historic. I've heard good things about it, but I was amused that Burning Tree Emissary is ban-worthy or suspend-worthy.
This feels a little wild in the coddle to me. This feels pretty wild in the coddle. In a couple years, it's going to be like, what are we doing?
Burning Tree Emissary.
It's the deck that was like turn 1 Llanowar Elf, turn 2 multiple Burning Tree Emissaries, Clothis, I think is the reason why that this was so
That's
immediate.
Nasty.
Right. Yeah. You could have something insanely, ridiculous.
Yeah, you could have some really good draws, but when Zoo's the best deck in the format, what's the problem?
Isn't that good? Isn't that okay?
Your Frogmites, we're banning Frogmite in Historic.
We're banning Wild Nicoddles. What are we doing again? I just feel like this is going to be an unban in a couple of months, and maybe we went too far. Blah blah blah. Anyway, in Pioneer, another one I didn't see this one coming. Oath of Nissa is unbanned.
Yeah.
Yep.
They chalk this up to banning a lot of problematic cards that support the green strategies. Once Upon a Time, Veil of Summer, Oko are all gone.
Right.
And so they feel that the ramp decks or the mono green decks might be a little bit more fair or a lot more easier to contend with. Interestingly enough, they didn't do anything about Inverter or Lotus Field, which some people thought they were going to. There's been a lot of criticism surrounding Inverter in particular. People have compared it to Splinter Twin with less ways to deal with it. And so they do acknowledge that, they're keeping an eye on these decks. They're saying that the win rates have not been backed up by the data, and that they're also seeing a rise of lesser played decks having success, which leads them to think that the metagame may shift.
Right. Yeah. Another one that was banned, it was a banned alongside of Leyline of Abundance, and that was when the green devotion strategy was really powerful right at the beginning. Pioneers had a lot of evolution since then. We had the Smuggler's Copter Wars, we have Inverter now, we have Lotus Breach, and so I think that this is a pretty safe one.
I really thought they were going to take more serious actions in Pioneer because, as we've covered on this show, the Pioneer challenges have not been firing. There are a lot of people speculating that Pioneer is just sort of a dead format right now. The majority of people seem to not be enjoying doing it. I was expecting them to take some more action on this, and
I agree.
I was surprised that it seemed to get the least amount of action, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know why, because it's going to stay dead for a while now, yeah?
It feels like, Wizards, as I understand it, sort of over time, Wizards has a certain amount of win percentage that it's okay with. Usually that's 56%. If it's more than 56% against the field, they'll just get it out of here. Well, what they kind of have right now is what I would describe as the Delver problem. Delver of Secrets in Standard was just so annoying. Everyone hated it. Everyone liked to hate on it. There was tons of jokes and memes about how stupid Delver was, and Delver was the worst, and Delver's better than everything else. Delver wasn't better than everything else. Delver did not have the win rates to ban something, and yet it drove people out of the format because they were so tired of playing against it. It was cheap to build, it was easy to play, and so like you kind of had that thing where it's like Inverter probably doesn't have the stats, but no one wants to play against this stupid card and this stupid deck, so like they're just not going to play it. So like by the rules of the road, their format is fine, but as for people wanting to play it, no. So.
Right. I mean, if it's miserable to play, then it doesn't matter what the win percentage is.
Exactly.
And also, if it's fun and cool, then it doesn't matter what the win percentage is in the opposite direction, right? Like, they never got rid of Bloodbraid Elf out of Standard, despite the fact that Jund in Standard was the biggest thing that had happened since Affinity, because, it was a roulette wheel. And so people had fun with it.
And people like spinning those, and those are really fun. All right, so moving on here to Modern. We got lots of formats. We got lots of things. Modern, Arkham's Astrolabe is out of here.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
This card
Arkham's
away.
Astrolabe continues to be regarded as a mistake. Banned in Pauper, now banned in Modern. The card just does so many good things for such a little cost and such a little trade-off. They said that they're keeping an eye on it in Legacy because many people have said that it needs to go in Legacy. The problem is the same thing that you had mentioned, Evan, was that, it doesn't really have the win rates to support it, where, you are seeing those, 4 or 5 color snow decks, but they're not really doing very much. And so, Legacy was ignored in this announcement, and most people I know seem to think this was fine. Like, I didn't really see any feedback that said that this was, bad or anybody was against this.
I mean, a 1-mana artifact that replaces itself and mana color doesn't matter anymore, like...
And you followed up with Urza, and then it's just a bad scene.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So happy to see that one going. Now, this was awesome. In Pauper,
Yeah.
Mystic Sanctuary is out of here. That card was a mistake. You can go back to my Twitter feed when it was first spoiled. I said this card is a mistake.
They're starting to play with it in Vintage now, where you can. You think Mystic Sanctuary is dumb now? Try looping it with Time Walks.
Oh God!
And Ancestral Recalls. It gets really stupid.
You can get it with a fetch land. What were they thinking? Oh my God!
Yeah.
But also, Expedition Map is banned. Get out of here, Tron.
Yeah.
Tron was a gigantic pillow on top of everyone's face who was trying to play Pauper of just like, you're not going to get away from it. It's always going to be there. It's going to be super powerful. Expedition Map made it so unbelievably consistent. Oh my God. It was so annoying. I'm super happy to see this. Tron will not go away. This doesn't kill the deck, but man, it kills a lot of consistency.
Oh, it certainly takes out a lot of the consistency.
Yes.
Being able to have essentially 3 or 4 wild cards in your deck for whichever one you happen to be missing is going to slow it down. Now people are just going to be more salty when natural Tron occurs on turn 3, but at least there's some of the consistency is gone if the explosiveness isn't.
Right.
Yeah.
It just feels better now to get the Tron. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now it's a combo deck. Now it's less of a sure thing.
Woo woo. All right. So, and for those in the chat, thanks for cheering along. We have reached tier 3 of what? Not sure what that
thank you.
means.
Hey, is that a hype train?
That's Hype Train.
They also added a note on Standard as well. They said we are choosing not to make any changes to Standard at this time. Overall win rates and day 2 conversion of the Bant Ramp and Temur Reclamation decks have come down. They said that they've seen a rise in popularity of other decks like Mono Green Aggro, Rakdos Sacrifice, Paw Blade, which I think Ruben you're a fan of. And so it sounds like they're saying that the format is adjusting and that they want to give time to do that.
Sure. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I mean, we have Uro and we have Growth Spiral if they wanted to take out, like, one of the legs underneath one of those decks. But, like, who cares? I mean, I think that Standard's actually fine right now. Even though Wilderness Reclamation was probably a mistake, it's pretty under control. As long as we don't see too many main deck wilt anytime soon. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah,
it's fine. I mean, ultimately, I think if you don't like standard, I don't think banning Growth Spiral was going to fix that problem. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Because you're like, well, you got to just ban everything. You got to ban Nissa. You got to ban Teferi. You got to get all that crap out of here. It's like, no, this was kind of the environment they wanted to have. Love it or hate it. Like, there's some good strategies for going super low and super fast. I like to play the Boros deck in Best of One, which is fun because I just run over these blue-green giant mana decks by just playing 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop.
Why aren't you playing Genesis Ultimatum with your bro Terror of the Peaks triggering off of Uros?
That's
Evan,
Christmas land
come
right
on.
there. It's only July, Ruben.
Only July. There you go. All right. That said,
I'm not going outside till Christmas, so.
No. We're going to move on here to Gathering the Townsfolk. Wizards has released the monthly Arena State of the Game for July 2020. This means that Jumpstart is coming to Arena, which is going to be sweet. It's going to cost 400 gems or 2,000 gold. You get to pick 2 of those theme packets. You get to keep all of the cards in it. All of the rewards for the event are going to be Jumpstart rares and
because I am
mythics.
genuinely interested in this. How am I able? I can just buy those, right? So like I can just use cash. Okay.
Yeah, you can. Well, you can buy into the event and you can play as long as you want and get rewards and stuff. And then you can resign from the event and do it again, and then get 2 more different Jumpstart packs and keep going.
Cool.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it seems super duper cool. So you can play as much as you want. Your first win, you get a Jumpstart rare card reward, individual card reward, and your second, you get another one. So this would be a rare or a mythic from that set, which is cool. And Jumpstart, again, one of the best things Wizards come up with in years.
Yes.
Freaking-tastic. Good
Card
job.
prices are starting to go down a little bit, too. I was looking around, and Muxus was really, I think, almost like $30 when I first looked at it. And I was looking around at various stores the other day, and it's down to about $15, $20.
Right.
So that's a good sign.
Yeah, you have this race for the bottom that happens when essentially stores get product, they get to open them, they get to put them up on their websites or on marketplaces and get them out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
The Arena Opens are coming back. This is the $2,000 Arena Open for Historic, so you can win $2,000 inside of playing just Magic Arena, which is fun.
Again, these are insane value. If you have the weekend to do them, they are ridiculously good value. You need something like a 52% win rate to break above even, which is not hard to do with Delver. No, I'm kidding. But it's not hard to do, even as a mediocre talent such as myself.
Nice. Day 1's going to be Best of 1 Historic, which you play until 7 wins or 3 losses. In Day 2, you'll be playing Best of 3, as I understand it here. This will be Best of 3 Historic Constructed, so you'll be able to play, the real tournament Magic, as they like to go on about. And if you get 7 wins there, that's $2,000. Along with Zendikar Rising's qualifier weekend eligibility, where you get to play in the kind of sort of leading to a Pro Tour, but they call them championships now because they're not really PTs anymore. We'll get to that. The FNM at home, this is interesting. For people like Aaron, for example, they will let you build any historic deck you want using any cards you want. You don't have to have them in your collection. Just get to build whatever you want to play at that FNM at home for Friday, July 24th. So in a couple of weeks, check that out.
Yeah, the last time they did that for Standard was also a big hit. I'm a big fan of them letting everyone sort of participate in a version of the early access event. Just sort of playing around with proxies, kind of.
Basically,
which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's great. You get to build whatever deck you want. Get to try to whatever cards you didn't, I don't want to cash in my mythic rares for these 4 weird mythics or whatever.
I need Historic Brawl to come back. That's all I care about.
Historic Brawl's
I've got
pretty
like
dope.
4 decks waiting. I want to play my my Itali Historic Brawl deck. So it's coming.
Now, this is cool. For those who don't know, Dominaria is the best Magic set ever made, in my humble opinion. Or not so humble opinion.
Okay.
It's okay to be wrong. It's fine. Who cares? Dominaria was never draftable on Magic Arena with other players until now.
I didn't know that.
Yes, Premier Draft Dominaria is coming from July 31st until August 14th. You get to play you get to draft with other people to get your deck built, which is going to be amazing because there was definitely times where I would say things like, I know the bots aren't going to take so-and-so, and around it would wheel. So I'm very excited about that. Dominaria is amazing. All 10 archetypes for the 10 different color pairs are fan-freaking-tastic. I love that set. I can't wait.
And the secret 11th archetype of 5-color Grow from the Ashes, which I always force.
It is definitely a secret one.
Is my favorite.
Yes, draft all the goodies. But yeah, so for those who like that, and of course through July 24th through July 31st, you're going to be able to play Throne of Eldraine Premier Draft, which again, you couldn't, as I recall, you could not play Throne of Eldraine with real people drafting either.
Yeah, these are win-wins. Arena gets money. Players get to play against players. There's nothing wrong here.
They're getting rid of these workshop events. There's a workshop event right now at Arena where they get to let you play with these different decks that have like multiple copies of cards, like 15 copies of the one drop that makes the demon when you zombify.
That's the current workshop.
That's the current
workshop is no maximum number on like certain decks.
Yeah. So the blue-green one, I challenge anyone to win a single game with the blue-green deck. I kid you not. Bad? It is one of the worst event decks I have ever played in my life. It is. I played against all three of the other decks with a blue-green deck. You just get smashed. Like, it's not even close. It is horrifically terrible. It's only going to be on there a little bit while longer. So if you can check it out, it is breathtakingly awful.
I'll try to get one win.
There you go. Just get one. Just give me one.
Accepted.
I'm telling you.
Play that format.
That's sad. But things like Amonkhet Remastered are coming, which is going to be a thing where they take basically all the tournament playable stuff, is my guess, and some other stuff and make it a format. Mobile, they keep saying mobile in 2020. I mean, hi, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, let's make the program function on like Mac and PC all the time first.
We're getting there. And Zendikar Rising is coming, so we'll see what happens for that.
Sure is.
Yeah.
What are the odds they reprint Growth Spiral and Zendikar Rising? Because Landfall.
Explore?
I mean, Explore would be preferable, I think.
Very nice. All right. Okay, so here's some fun stuff. Aaron, you have to be pumped about this announcement. The CommandFest Online
snuck up on my timeline a couple hours before the show. CFB announced a save the date. They're going to be partnering with Wizards, Magic, and Spell Table to bring us another CommandFest Online. CommandFest Online 2 is happening the weekend of August 22nd and 23rd. And then they also announced that it's going to be 2 days. It seemed like the last one was really well attended. People seemed to have a really good time. I played for about 12 hours. I got in about 7 or 8 games. I was, plucking people off Twitter and the Discord, and the games were popping, and I had a really, really good time. There were a lot of people I didn't get the chance to play, so let's do it this time around. Nice. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, this should be a whole lot of fun, and works again with Spell Table, so you guys can actually play real cards and kind of set up your camera and make sure that stuff sort of works. Which
Spell Table's
cool.
an amazing program. Like, I've been very, very happy with it. I do 90% of my games through Spell Table, and you can keep track of the Monarch and your life totals and commander damage, and you can even randomly rotate the screens to see who goes first. Nice. You can even rotate the screens once you've decided who goes first if you want to rearrange them in the order so you know. It just does so many things, and it's such a stable program.
And it's proudly sponsored by CoolStuffInc.com.
It's a good choice.
I have to throw that in there, as we do. All right, let's take a look here. Wizards officially today released the Magic Companion app. Remember that portal thing? I remember that. On the side of Ravnica boxes? They did that.
Except for it's not called Portal anymore. It's called the Companion app.
It's called the Companion app. Which is fine. This is how we have the Wizards has officially gotten rid of DCI numbers. Most even mentions of DCI at this point have been removed or exiled, and you have your Wizards account that you sign in that you can play events with, and they can track you through that. And it is definitely a sort of turning the page, whether you like it or not. This is going to be the new normal for playing in events in Magic.
Right, it seems like it has potential. So I'm looking at the screenshots here. So you pay your entry fee. You click joins. You find the event you want to play in. You can find your table here. You can put in the results of your match here. You can see your standings here. It says you can track your life in this companion as well.
I'm downloading it right now.
Host your own events here. Once we can start going to events again, this seems like it's going to be really cool. No more of that pushing and shoving your way. No more waiting for that one guy who takes forever to just get his name off a list. You can just be like, whoop,
exactly.
And you're there.
Yeah. Assuming you have access to the internet in the Faraday cage that is your convention center. Yeah.
That's going to be interesting as well.
Is what it is.
Is what it is, for sure. So as the conventions this year are turning online, essentially. They're turning virtual. And GenCon is going to have an online component. Well, also, there's going to be one for Comic-Con. San Diego Comic-Con wanted to do something. They're going to have a Comic-Con at home. Yep. And on July 25th at 12 p.m. PST, which is 3 p.m. Eastern, there's going to be a first look at Zendikar Rising from Mark Rosewater, because he's going to have a talk or of some sort there, which is going to be sweet.
Sure. I mean, it's going to be a first look just like the Throne of Eldraine one was last year, where he debuted his phrase, Camelot meets Grim Fairy Tales. Mm-hmm. This will be what Zendikar is. He'll show off a bunch of the art, maybe show off a basic land, maybe show off one card or two, show off a cool frame, something along those lines.
Because you got to remember, July 25th, that's 10 days from now, first of all. Secondly, we're going to be kind of right in the middle of Double Masters previews. So, Double Masters, Zendikar Rising for a second, back into the Double Masters train, and off we go.
That's right.
You know? So that's going to be a thing.
And since we're talking about conventions and being online and stuff real quick, shameless self-promotion. Please, everybody, put it down on your calendars if you can't get enough of Ruby in your life, particularly Dungeon Master Ruby. I know how you feel about Dungeon Master Ruby. The 1st of August, GenCon Online, The Broken Pact is doing a one-shot in the world of Theros. So you can join myself, Ashlyn Rose, Riley Silverman, Gaurav Gulati, and Jordan Pridgeon going through the mythic odysseys of Theros. So join us. So that would be August 1st. That's a Saturday at, I want to say, 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern.
Okay. Very good. We'll show up for Rubes. Let's do
follow
this.
my Twitter if you don't know. That's going to be at Saving Throw Show. Twitch.tv/Saving Throw Show.
There you go. All right. Wizards is making sort of moves here to be more inclusive and to have maybe a different sort of look to their staff, as it were. The Senior Manager for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion is now a new job opening. Elaine Chase literally introduced this with Help Us Be Better. And linked to the job opening, along with a senior game designer for Worldbuilding, which James Wyatt had tweeted about.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to hire another him, he says, or he hopes another person who looks less like him, which would be nice too.
I looked a lot like James Wyatt, but I'm still probably going to apply for that job because I'm all Worldbuilding all the time. But
do it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there was some feedback
dude, so.
surrounding the diversity position. Some people on Twitter noticed that it's a lot of responsibility for one person. That's something that normally a team is responsible for. And so there were some questions as to, is this person getting a team or is it all being piled on them? Some people thought it was kind of setting the stage for that person to be a scapegoat or a fall guy if this all didn't work out. And people were also wondering what the pay was going to be on, pay was going to be for that, because to ask for all of that from one person, or even just to ask all of that of anybody, it requires a good salary. And Wizards is not necessarily known for having the most competitive pay, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And so people were like, you're gonna pay someone to do this? And so some people had their guard up, but it does sound like they're trying, and that's what we said we wanted them to do. So we need to see how this goes.
Yeah. If you have to give them a chance. Mm-hmm. If they're saying they want to do it, you ask them to do it. They're doing it. This is part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. This role will act as a strategic partner to business leaders in the HR team. You'll be focused on attracting, retaining, and developing talent that reflects our audiences and promoting an inclusive environment. Whoo boy, you could also be set up to be the fall person if something goes horribly wrong and they're like, well, you were the inclusive person, right? And you didn't tell us about so-and-so. Well, get out of here. So that seems a little stressful, but
I mean, Wizards of the Coast, as we've said we've talked out of both sides of our mouths about Wizards of the Coast a lot on this show. On the one hand, we love every individual person that we know who works in Wizards of the Coast. We think that they are all great. Every single person who comes, some of them come to visit our chat sometimes. Several dozens of my friends have worked at Wizards of the Coast. Either I knew them ahead of time, or I knew them after, or I knew them during. Mm-hmm. That's out of one side of the mouth. Out of the other side of the mouth, the company hasn't done as good as it should. And that's a function of multiple things. That's a function of being a Goliath. The reason why David lost to Goliath is because David was quick and mobile, and Goliath was slow and clumsy. And that's what Wizards of the Coast is now. It's no longer a David, it's a Goliath. And so they have moved slowly, and they're cumbersome, and they're really awkward. They're also a subsidiary of Hasbro, and so you have a lot of baggage there. They have they have a newish CEO. And for all the good that new CEO did for the first 2 years of the company, growing the brand, making Arena great, all of these awesome things, they just kept tweaking knobs. And then the things that were once strengths of Wizards are no longer dependable anymore, as we'll touch on later in the show.
Speaking of things that are no longer as strong as they used to be.
Oh boy. Jeepers.
Moving into desperate ravings, Wizards released another esports update. Look. All right, I'm just, quite frankly, I'm tired of it. And the second part is I'm disappointed, because one of the things that I felt was always one of the best strengths, one of the most incredible things that Magic had, was organized play. You understood it. You know that you could play in your store.
You did it better than a lot of games.
You could play in PTQs, which would get you into this Pro Tour. You could play in these big regional events or these big Grand Prix, which could also get you to these big events. You had an ability to know what your levels were as a pro. Yes, it felt like they pulled the pro level points out of a hat, whatever, but at least you knew that was the road to travel.
Exactly.
I have no idea how Wizards went from this system over here to whatever in the world we're doing today. It is a hodgepodge mess. There is going to be no consistency, very, very little consistency of people in this MPL. No other esports organization that I know of would have this unbelievable amount of turnover. Whether you're in Counter-Strike, into Hearthstone, into like League of Legends.
Funny because when somebody on Reddit asked them about it, the official account said that they were responding to feedback that their rosters were too static. Like to me,
man, I just don't want to see Johnny Magic anymore.
I would think you've earned that. Where if you're that good of a player and you can fend off the challengers, you should be there year after year. Like if you're good, why are we rotating somebody who it deserves to be there and could very well fight for their spot?
Right, and it's very similar with any professional sport. It's very difficult to repeat as a champion. It is not as difficult to make the playoffs, and that's how you get these exciting dynasties. You get these fun back-to-back going to the top 4 teams in any sport. And I want to see those big names. I want that consistency mixed in with, who's the new kid? Can he take down Johnny Magic and the German Juggernaut? Like, that's part of the excitement. And I don't know why you want to encourage more turnover on a game that is already, there's a lot of turnover in competitive Magic for a number of reasons, primarily variance, and I don't know why you would want to increase that. That seems bizarre to me, but
it's basically the top 4 of the MPL will stay, but that's just the top 4. The 4, there will be 4 that kind of can qualify through other means. Man, I got charts, I got graphs, I got whole pages of stuff. And look, it's not like we didn't say the same thing from the previous system, but at least I could understand the basics of X to Y to Z. This is how this is going to work, and they reached a certain level, so they're going to be that level for the rest of the year. Okay, cool. You can expect to see these names for the rest of the year to be playing here, and those names, again, they're not going to always spike the ball, but if they do well enough, and if they keep doing X4s and GPs or whatever it was back in the day, they would stay on that train. You would know who they are. You would build that person's brand. And man, it feels like they're building it up just to tear it right down.
Remember when that was the motto? They will know who you are? Well, they won't if you keep changing the roster.
So stupid. What I would rather they have done, what I would much rather they have done, and I'm just thinking of it now, is cancel the year. Just say there's nothing this year. There's no competitive Magic this year. We're going to spend the rest of the year figuring out what we're doing and how to move forward, and we'll start again January 1st.
I mean, everyone will know your name, except no one will know your name because who are you? I also understand that the NPL for the past couple years has been very similar, I guess. It hasn't changed that much.
Okay.
But at the same time, it was nice to know that there was Javier Dominguez was there. And, you know,
Right.
you had all these awesome faces that you kind of got used to seeing. And that was a good thing. Like, that's not a bad thing. You can have people have fans, and they want to see them come back and do well. And like,
I don't see how. I don't understand why that's a subject. Why they want to do that?
Wizards the Wizards killed both sides of the dream. They killed the idea that you as a Magic player at home can be part of this pro league. They might as well be on frigging Mars. Like, you're never getting there. And then they killed it on the other side, which is even if you get to Mars, you don't get to stay. Yeah. You get a little time period, and then you get the crap out of here because we got to bring some new faces, some new blood, some other people in here that no one maybe has heard of. I hope so.
Yeah, Javier Dominguez actually posted a really nice, well thought out thread on Twitter sharing his thoughts about this. And, you know, he mentions that, you know, it's easier to get into the MPL and qualify for Worlds as a Rivals player, but, you know, you don't know what the contracts will look like. And, you know, it's also hard mentally. You know, we're already feeling pressure to, you know, keep it going. And it sounds like the system's going to be a lot less forgiving. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, he goes on to say, you know, I like to see the bright side of things. You know, he says something about, I lost it here because it's a really long thread, but, you know, and even, you know, Andrea Mengucci was like, you know, this is sort of the sign for me that Pro Magic's not in the cards for me anymore. And, you know, it's just a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of uncertainty here. And it's sad. It's sad to see so many people who had already put up with so much, you know, things that would have made lesser Magic players bow out. These guys stood in for it and weathered that, and now they're just like, yeah, that's enough even for us.
How did they blow this lead? How did they do it?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I get COVID is blowing everything up. Mm-hmm. All right, sure, I get that, but they weathered the Hearthstone storm. Hearthstone is still very popular, still a juggernaut out there.
Still makes money,
but Arena was the top dog since it came out until now, and will continue to be so. The thing is, you do need to have somebody driving the bus, and what drives the bus is the competitive scene. And without those top echelon players in golf, in UFC, in tennis, in competitive esports, you're not selling the packs as much as you might if you did have those main characters that you wanted to be fans of.
What kind of blow is it when you take a entire Hall of Fame system, a program? We voted in these people year after year. You had special videos, special productions, special dinners, special rings, you know, the pomp and the circumstance, the idea that these were going in the history books, and now you no longer auto-invite them to your largest events.
Yeah, that also made me upset. I mean, it's no longer the Pro Tour, so it's no longer the Pro Tour Hall of Fame, but you're
That's
also
semantics, and you and I both know it.
I know it.
That's semantics.
And it's shirking history, and it's not. It makes me sad. Now, again, we're all old fogies here. We're all very entrenched in Magic. We've been doing this show for 5 years, and did shows before this, before Magic Mike's was ever a show. So we are not. We're in the 95th percentile of length of time played.
Sure.
But the history is important, even to the new folks, even to the new blood, because you don't know where you're going unless you know where you've been. And to say, sorry, Dirk Babarowski and Tommy Hovey, and like people who you may not know. Right? Like, everybody's heard the name Paul Reitzel. Everybody knows Huey Jensen. Right. Everybody knows John Finkel. They're not going anywhere. But you get, some of those fringe folks who might not go to every Pro Tour, but want to go to some just to
Bram
see their
Snapfangers and stuff.
Bram Snapfangers is a great one.
Yeah.
Then it's sad.
Yeah, it's just the idea that, you're not going to invite them because it's no longer a pro tour, so you can't put the pro. Like, get out of here, guys, for real. It's they want it both ways. They want to have the sort of importance, the air of importance, and the air of sort of being this lauded thing on the hill in order to get to these highest echelons. But then you had the highest echelons and you lauded them and you gave them these spots that's supposed to be commemorated. And then you just flushed them away.
I mean, it's very clear that whoever is making these decisions doesn't care about that.
Yes.
And the bottom line is they're probably... So there's no demonstrable way to prove that you're losing money by getting rid of the Pro Tour. Right? There's no way you're spending less money. We're making money by getting rid of the Pro Tour.
It's true.
Look at that. We've cut our advertising budget.
Yep.
And therefore we've made money, which is ignoring how advertising works.
It's just really painful, again, to see that, and even back in the day when they announced kind of their first changes, and I said something like, one of the things that Wizards had was a clear, organized play system, and I had people hit me up on the DMs like, it was not that clear. I'm like, yes, it was. You knew where you needed to go. You knew what events you needed to attend. You knew what these points levels you needed to get, regardless of what those point numbers were supposed to be. At least you knew. Now it's just flip a coin. I hope you stream a lot. Maybe Wizards likes you a bunch. Maybe you'll get an invite. I don't know.
Don't get me started on the freaking streamer.
Just saying. Aaron, tell us about friendly local game stores and Labyrinth.
So this is your weekly reminder to support your local game store if you can. There was a really great post by a game called Labyrinth Game Shop, which I saw shared on social media, and they basically just explained their situation, and they said that, while we are still here, and we appear to be keeping the lights on and everything, the reality is that the loan that we received from the government was quite small. It allowed us to pay for our staff for a couple of months, but the money's just about gone. Landlords are only being so flexible when it comes to rent. They were talking about how their sales have decreased as much as 40% compared to last year. Employees having to go on furlough, and just reminding people that, while these stores are still here now, they may not be by the end of the year, and that, if you have the option to buy local, you should do that. If you need to buy a gift, please get a gift certificate, because these stores are running out of time, and they're just not getting what they need to stay open.
Dozens, if not hundreds, of friendly local game stores are going to succumb to the downturn in the economy thanks to the pandemic. And anything that you can do to keep those lights on will help. I'm waiting to order my copy of Mythic Odysseys of Theros from a local game store for when it comes out. I always try to, stop in at Geeky Teas whenever I can, all of my, local area shops, even though I don't really play Magic with paper. Even before all this happened, I wasn't really playing paper Magic a lot. It's still important for the community. It's another pillar of what makes Magic what it is.
Yeah, and part of that was organized play. The part was you started in your store. You play your FNMs. Your FNMs go into your weekly tournaments. Your weekly tournaments go into your larger events. Either they're qualifying you for something, or maybe you're part of a third-party type of tournament program. Yeah. All that stuff happened because there was an entire network of these stores that existed. So, we are when we were expecting, at least, that we were kind of sold this bill of goods that by the time July-ish came around, we're around the bend. We're past the worst of it,
Wow. Thank you, MTG Effect. Gifted 10 subs.
Oh, goodness.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And so the idea that we were kind of supposed to be at this point, where, okay, maybe we can have some events, right? Maybe little small ones, or kind of start to get together and do the blah, blah. No, it's getting far, far worse than we had ever imagined. And, oh, my God. So support your local game store. They need your help. It's
194 countries in the world are opening back up. So, it's just this one. It's just this one.
Okay, now, Aaron, we get to play with the fun stuff.
Of course, it's been a while since we've had a good old racist store.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite. We need a new overlay for this week in racist.
You got to pull one out for Bob's Dugout. Remember that? That was 3 years ago. Can you believe that?
Yeah. We got so there was another one on the Mount Rushmore. Add to Bob's Dugout. Store of Fire and Dice. So there was upstate.
They got involved in this too because of course they did. So there's a store called Alpha Gaming Clothing LLC, who made a post on Facebook. They're in Kentucky that was talking about the mask situation, and it says, starting tomorrow, in addition to wearing a mask at Alpha, you must also sew a yellow star on your clothing to show your love for nonsensical compliance, which is essentially a shout out to the Holocaust. And immediately people were like, what are you thinking? And then in typical fashion, there was the double down, the triple down. And this spread like wildfire. At least the majority of people, like, they were getting dragged to hell and back for this, as they should. And then last I checked, the Facebook page had been taken down. But it was just hilarious because we haven't had just a dumbass LGS in a while. And these guys just really leaned into it. And it was just like, why? Why would you type this? Like, why would you post it? The best thing about this is you can see how many edits something has had on Facebook. And this post had at least 6 or 7 edits, none of which had to do with the Jewish joke. It was all about the grammar. So they were like, we're fine being racist, but it needs to be grammatically correct.
Yeah. If you don't know what the yellow star means, feel free to avail yourself.
We're
of the
Jewish.
Google
We can help you
program.
with that.
Exactly.
I got this.
Boy, howdy.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a lot. It's been a weird 10 days for Jewish people in the world. Just out of nowhere, really. Like... Man,
Nick Cannon's mad at us too. Like, come on.
What is happening? I don't understand.
Look,
that is weird.
Everybody's fuses are a little bit shorter. Everybody's feelings are a little bit more frayed. Everybody's a little bit more on edge than they usually are.
But
everybody's bored in the house.
I just loved seeing the fallout from this and just people going, what?
Yeah, seeing people get what's coming to them is cathartic in some way because we don't get that all the time from everywhere.
But, there's freedom of speech, there's not freedom of consequences.
Do support your friendly local game store, but also make sure that they aren't doing some dumb stuff.
Yeah. Make sure they're not equating masks to the Holocaust.
I can't. That was unbelievable. Okay. Sorry. What was going through their mind?
It does sound like a joke.
Simpler.
It
sounds like a troll. Like someone's literally, what's the stupidest thing you could be doing right now?
It doesn't sound real. It sounds like a James Franco, Seth Rogen movie. Yeah.
That said, unfortunately, some bad news for MPL member pro Michael Sigrist. Noted they are awaiting a test result for the bad, terrible things happening for my family, but myself and my daughter are symptomatic.
I believe his wife is an essential. I think she works in the medical field.
Oh no!
And yeah, I mean, this is a real thing that is happening. This is not a hoax. These are real people that are getting sick. These are real people that are dying. And I'm surprised that we haven't seen less people in the community come down with this because you look at the statistics and you look at the numbers and you think, it's got to be hitting closer to home than this. And, we've had some kind of 6 degrees. Travis, whose father passed away, from COVID. And obviously the person, the father at the start of our show. But we've gotten pretty lucky in that we haven't seen anybody. I think Paulo might have had it, though, didn't he?
I think he said they had it, right? Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah,
I mean, I've had a couple friends in LA who think they've had it. I think I know of one friend confirmed who had it.
Yeah.
I have a friend whose dad died from it.
Oh, my God.
Jeez.
Yeah, so these are real people. And so, and Mike was kind of talking about his situation, and he said, you don't see a lot of stories from people who have it or who are going through it. He talked about his symptoms, and he just ultimately wanted to raise awareness. So good on him, and I hope his family and him feel better.
Yeah.
Yep. I hope he's doing okay. You're also in this weird situation where I know there's been people who have gotten tested and like 11 days later they still don't have the results.
Yeah, the testing is obviously horrendous right now for a number of reasons, and avail yourself of the Google app to see more on the news of why testing is weird. But yeah, if you can get tests, great.
Great. You should get them.
If
they work, and particularly if they're fast.
Yeah.
I got my results in 3 days when I got tested.
And that's awesome. Because
and
down
I
in
also
Florida,
had the throat
not so
swab,
much.
so they didn't go in my brain. They just...
Yeah. They didn't go in there with the tweezers to pull out your brain to put in the canoptic jar.
I remember taking history class and learning about mummification. Like, you're not pulling my brain out through my nose.
Right. They'll put that. Yep. Exactly. No. Well, that's to make sure that your soul goes to the afterlife.
Right, all the way in, and they pull that in there.
Right.
Okay.
No.
You
Oh,
also
boy.
have to save the liver, the stomach, and
That I knew
the
about.
spleen.
That's the
I
canonic
think.
jars.
You see,
but-
you put it in there and you pull it out like you're starting a lawnmower. Just get that out of there.
Like a ripcord.
This took a turn.
Okay, look, in-store play suspension has been temporarily reinstated in the U.S. and Latin America because look at the number of cases, and that's all you have to do.
And
So,
look at the number of stores that were still trying to make pre-releases happen, and it's just like you can't be doing this right now. Like it's just it's a bad time. It's not safe. I understand that people want to help. We just talked about infusing your stores with money, but there's got to be a better way to do this. Money should not come before lives. If even one life is lost, it is one life too many. And so it's a shame that it had to happen in an official capacity, but people should have really known better than to even start running events. Because although I did see some really cute, I did see some outdoor pre-releases, and I'm a big fan of outdoor things because
that's cool.
outdoor
That's kinda
transmission
cute.
seems to be quite low, and so that was cool. Like I'm not mad about that, but you can't have the events like you used to in your cramped indoor, poorly ventilated. It's not going to happen.
right.
Yeah, I like that. That's cute. I like that.
Yeah, they had like I don't remember the name of the store, but it was really nice. They had like big tents and tables, and that was cool.
So they're going to update this on a monthly basis beginning in September, the second Wednesday of every month. They're going to let you know that you cannot play the month after, and they're going to keep doing that until this stops.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Is there any other stories you guys would like to touch on, whether it's splash damage or anything else?
I am particularly excited. The creators of World of Warcraft, or the developers, just announced that when Shadowlands comes out, the next expansion, they are dropping the fee to change your character's gender. It currently costs $15 to do so. I went through that with my Tauren character back in Wrath of the Lich King, I believe. And so you'll be able to just stroll into any barbershop and get a gender change, which would be awesome if it was like that in real life. And so that's really cool. They're also introducing darker skins, so you can play as black folks now, which is cool. And so, I'm all for, different skins and different variations of body types and genders, and I think this is cool.
Absolutely.
First of all, it just kind of goes to show you in some ways that $15 was just complete BS. 100% delicious profit.
Like in real life, I'm just saying.
Someone
It's a
clicked
weird
a
tax.
button, $15. Like that's how they made it.
You need to
Absolutely
click the button
ridiculous.
and just make it real. Just
Right.
I want to walk into my barbershop and just
Boom, done. Well, quickly onto things that I love.
Did
Lego.
you say queerly?
No, I said quickly.
I heard queerly.
If I said that,
Could be queerly.
I screwed that up. I didn't mean
Could
that.
queerly,
Crystal
as in
queer.
strangely.
Right, but not in a bad way.
No.
I mean in a
Words
bad way.
have,
Look, Lego and Nintendo are making the Lego NES. 2,646 pieces. Just pump that stuff into my vein.
I love that.
I'm getting this one. I'm putting this one together. This is my childhood in a Lego set. It even has like a little TV that like spins around like you're really playing the level. Man, I
So let me
cannot
ask you
wait.
something. You're a Lego nerd, right?
A bit.
Okay, so I'm trying to find fun things for my boyfriend and I to do with pandemic and not being able to leave the house. Is that like a couple activity? Like, can you put a big Lego scene together?
Yeah, for sure.
You can.
I would
Okay.
say so.
Okay.
I
And you
mean,
can even-
don't
It will-
put your blocks on anywhere that you're planning on using.
I didn't mean it like that, but like, is it like a couple activity? Like, can
Yeah,
you
for
just
sure.
pass some time?
Yeah.
There's
Oh, absolutely.
like, the really big ones. Like for example, there's this whole Stranger Things house. It's like a giant upside down house that has the upside down part and the top part. There's the huge Star Wars ones. Like for me, there's even the architecture ones you can put together, like the London Bridge and stuff like that.
okay.
So there's not just like
They're
race cars or whatever. You can put real world stuff together.
Didn't our buddy Matt Thorne used to do a bunch of stuff with Lego? Like he had like the Eiffel Tower and the London Bridge.
No, that was Ray. Ray Dill loved
Oh,
that
it was
stuff.
Ray who did
Okay.
that.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Ray, who is designed a lot of our stuff.
Yeah, actually, the overlays you're looking at right now. But yeah, this Lego set absolutely is incredible, and I can't wait. And wow, this was everything I would hope for in a Lego set. I can't believe it. Anyway, all right, so we're going to turn the corner here to the finisher. This week, the world sadly said goodbye to nerd icon Grant Imahara. The electrical engineer famous for his robotic creations such as the middleweight BattleBot Deadblow, Jeff Peterson, the gay robot co-host of the Craig Ferguson Show, and his recent fully animatronic Baby Yoda.
He was Baby Yoda?
He
passed
created
away.
a new Baby Yoda.
okay.
He didn't create the Baby
Okay.
Yoda. Yeah.
But passed away at age 49. We are extremely sad to lose such a brilliant, kind, earnest, curious, and passionate man so soon. And we on Magic Mike's would like to pay our version of a tribute. Of course, his myriad accomplishments as a television host on White Rabbit Project and Junkyard Wars are notable, but he's best known as part of the build team on Mythbusters. So tell me, in honor of the world-famous roboticist, what is one Magic-related myth you want to bust, Ruben?
Well, there's an old theory that says you're supposed to draft in bread order. Bombs, removal, evasion, advantage, and defense. But with how good every single card is nowadays, that's changed. So in my opinion, it's no longer typing out BREAD, but instead it's more like typing in the chat box against a Brazilian pro on Magic Online. It's just BR. Myth busted.
Nice.
Ja, BR.
Nice. Aaron?
Well, I've heard a theory that you're supposed to play 17 lands and 23 spells in your 40-card limited deck. I've heard it on Magic Online, I've heard it on Arena, from in-store employees, from deck inserts. I've heard 1723 everywhere. But I know that the correct way to play limited is just throw it directly into the trash. Myth busted. In the trash.
Until Jumpstart.
Yeah, I'm all about Jumpstart.
All right. Well, I've heard it posed that Magic is all about card parity, getting more 2-for-1s and 3-for-1s, putting yourself into good situations to gain little edges, and winning thanks to those many infinitesimal decisions. But with current Magic the way it is, and power levels increasing the way they are, that's just not the case anymore. Force of Will used to be bad in Standard when the best thing you could counter was Sphinx's Revelation or Patriarch's Bidding, but now there's Wilderness Wreck, Fires, Nissa, and many more that will give you multiples, and now every card, as Travis Wu would say, is giving us multiples. Myth and multiples. Busted.
Oh, so much busting.
Goodness gracious. And that ends another live episode of Magic Mike's. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you for having me, and thank you to everybody in our chat tonight. Y'all have been so generous and lovely.
That was great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
That's right. All right, move on here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, my co-hosts, Aaron Campbell and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching or listening. I hope you support us at Patreon.com/MagicMikes. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mikes, our Twitter at Magic Mikes Cast, our Magic Mikes subreddit, and like the Magic Mikes page on Facebook. Talk to us privately at MagicMikesPodcast@gmail.com. Follow the audio-only podcast at MagicMikesPodcast.libsyn.com, or find us on iTunes and Spotify. Or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mikes. Good night, everybody.